Foundations of Morality, author, Viet Quang. Chapter 4. Altruistic. Morality also has another measurement. That is the tendency for other, or for oneself. If we live for ourselves too much, we are less moral. If we live for other very much, we are more moral. However, selfish is a natural instinct of all beings. Everyone wants to get their interests for oneself first. We take care ourselves first with food and wear, then think of others later. If let things go on without education, the selfish instinct will control our thoughts and deeds into the immoral way. Only with education, only with the awakening of wisdom, we can be against the selfish tendency to live altruistically. The father pretended to drink and talk around to wait for his children to eat their fill. Then he would eat the rest. The money saved for a new bike now is given to the neighbor who just got in a bad accident. The work time was over, but the old man had sat too long waiting for his case to be solved, so the clerk delayed his party to invite him into his office. The person just took the first bite of a hamburger, but saw the dog that looked too hungry, so they stopped eating and gave the hamburger to the dog. A person met with their friend 3 times, but the friend wore the same shirt, so they gave him the newly bought shirt. The exam is ahead, but the boy could not solve the task, so their friend stayed up late to help him to solve the task. At the beginning, it is very difficult to change the way of life from for us to for others. Until the for others life has become a natural habit, we will discover that happiness is here. The for us life gives us mediocre pleasure. The altruistic life will give us noble happiness. If we have to honor someone as a saint, it is because he has an extremely altruistic life. If religions have to canonize anyone, they also rely on the standard of an altruistic life. When we were born, we were entitled to enjoy some interests, to enjoy some pleasures. But if we are moral people, we will prefer serving to enjoying, prefer working to consuming. However, to refuse drastically all interests is also an extreme thing. We cannot work if we do not eat enough food. We cannot give others money if we do not have money. So, if we are for us in order to be for others, we are still moral people. If we are for us then nothing more, we are immoral. The father had to eat enough before plowing the rice field. The businessman had to save every penny to keep the business running so that the employees would still have their jobs. The government has to control the tax paying severely to have enough money to spend for a lot of services in the country. The nation leaders have to move in an armored car to keep their lives to administrate everything. The captain had to ignore the exhausted co-pilot to drive the plane and land safely. Their manifestation looks like for themselves, but really for others, they are moral indeed. If we want to set up such noble altruistic tendencies, we have to love and adore the altruistic saints first. We also need to tell ourselves to live altruistically. We try to tell people to live altruistically. We do not make derogative remarks to selfish people, but just try to advise them only. Chapter 5. Peaceful Mind. An ethical mind is compatible with inner peace. He who lives a moral life will have peace inside. He who did bad things, cruel things, could temporarily gain his own interests, but would have to pay the price of an agitated mind later. There are many kinds of joys such as gladness, rejoicing, pleasance, happiness, cheer, delight, interest. Not all of them are good. Some of them make us become addicted and selfish. Some families have lost their happiness because there was someone in the family who sank into debauchery, drugs, alcohol, lust, adultery, gambling. That person concerned himself in his own pleasure and ignored others' miseries. Not only did his family suffer the pain, but also himself became disturbed. Of course, the law of cause and effect karma will eventually give them inevitable consequences with long-lasting misery. But as soon as they enjoyed the pleasures, as soon as they appropriated others' fortune, as soon as they made people painful, they were both excited and distressed. Greediness and cruelty are always compatible with the psychosis. In contrast, a moral heart, a loving, good mind, and an altruistic life will make our heart peaceful. That peace will not flame, will not be loud, will not be jubilant, but will only be gentle, light, and happy. A wise person will understand such peace is priceless, so that he or she will accept hard work, accept disadvantages, accept serving, and accept refusals to keep his or her life in good region. A man drove a long way to sign a new contract. As soon as he stepped out of the car, he saw some blood on the wheel. He wondered whether he had run over somebody unintentionally. He arranged to cancel the signing meeting and drove back to find the victim. He found the victim, and took her to the hospital. He was suspected of being the culprit. When she awoke, she told them that she had been hit by a motorcycle. The biker had run away. She laid unconscious beside the road. The car just ran over the blood. After the incident, he was often asked about it. He answered that if he had not driven back to find the truth, he would have spent the rest of his life in regret. By driving back and saving the girl, he could spend the rest of his life in peace. Buddhists often practice meditation in search of a peaceful mind. They think that once they get into an absolutely peaceful mind, they will be enlightened sublimely. But Sakya Muni has taught that there are many conditions for good meditation. One of them is a moral life. They have to make many good deeds, get away from the evil actions, help others, make offerings, and give alms a lot. It is clear that all saints encourage a moral life to make the path leading to pure inner peace. Chapter 6. Gentle, determined person. We often think that a moral person will be gentle and pleasant. It is very true. An ethical would not react strongly when facing something unpleasant. Gentleness means not reacting strongly. A gentle person often chooses a moderate, mild, unruffled attitude when responding to something. The people who have had gentleness become their nature will have a face that is nicer and milder. It will take us many lives to gain a gentle nature. Most of us are a mixture of gentleness and fierceness. Sometimes we choose a mild attitude, and sometimes we choose a strong attitude. If he or she has an inner heart that is not completely gentle, he or she will have a beautiful but cold face. If he or she has kept an inner heart completely gentle, he or she will have a beautiful and mild face. It is correct in almost all situations if we choose a gentle attitude. An angry attitude should be kept private. All politicians keep an unruffled and a mild attitude when in public. Even if they are booed, shoes thrown at them or asked rude questions, they remain humorous and keep calm. A smart politician will always do this. A gentle attitude is the manifestation of a person who is well educated, cultural, intellectual, and from a good family. He who is impolite, fierce, says bad words, easily gets angry, and makes strong gestures, probably was not born in a decent educated family. However, the gentleness of a moral person is different from the feebleness of a person with poor karma. Gentleness is an ethical choice. Feebleness is the suffering of powerlessness and low wisdom. A gentle and moral man would know right from wrong. He can be gentle and never agree with the wrong. They are gentle because they are virtuous, not because they are feeble. When they have to choose between right and wrong, good and evil, they are very consistent. Consistency is strength. Morality gives us the power to be steadfast and do what is right. In normal life, the ethical people will have few words, and no strong reaction, but when they face a situation that requires a choice between good or evil, they choose good with very powerful strength that no money or threat can change. The cause will have an effect. Such people will then leave for a community of noble beings, so that they will be able to live in a very ethical community.